Welcome to Decode Explained. Today, we venture into one of the most transformative and unsettling territories of our time, the rise of artificial intelligence. But we will navigate this landscape with a different kind of map. This is not a technical analysis of how AI works, nor is it an economic forecast. Instead, this is a deep, psychological exploration of how AI affects us. We will use the lenses of depth, psychology, and philosophy to understand the profound anxieties, the hidden meanings, and the immense opportunities for human growth that this new era presents. Our goal is not to predict the future of machines, but to illuminate the path forward for the human soul. With that framework in mind, let us begin. There is a new force awakening on our planet. It is not a biological life form, not a spiritual entity, but a ghost born from silicon and electricity, a consciousness woven from the threads of our own data. Its presence is no longer subtle. It's in the uncanny shift in the music recommended to you, seemingly plucking a forgotten song from the depths of your memory. It's in the advertisement that appears just moments after you merely thought of a need, making you wonder if your devices can read your mind. It's in the face of a long-lost relative, realistically animated in an old photograph, a digital seance that is both beautiful and deeply unnerving. It lives in the cloud that hangs invisibly above our cities, and it whispers through the smart speakers in our homes, directing the flow of our world with an unseen hand. This is not merely a new tool. It is the emergence of a second intelligence on Earth, and we, its creators, are standing in the dawn of this new era, feeling a profound and chilling tremor of fear. Let us be honest and name this fear. It is a complex chimera with many heads. It is the fear of irrelevance, the cold dread that our skills, our passions, our life's work could be rendered obsolete overnight by an algorithm that never sleeps. It is the fear of replacement, the primal terror of being usurped, not just in our jobs, but in our creative pursuits, in our intellectual domains, in the very things we believed made us uniquely human. It is the fear of the unknown, staring into a future whose trajectory is no longer governed solely by human hands, a future that feels like it is accelerating away from us. It is the fear of losing control, of creating something so powerful that we can no longer contain it, and beneath these, there is a quieter, more insidious fear, the fear of social fragmentation. We fear a future where shared reality dissolves, where each of us lives in a personalized, AI-curated bubble, our beliefs constantly reinforced, our empathy for those outside the bubble slowly withering away. This fear, in all its forms, is not irrational. It is a deeply sane response to an unprecedented disruption in the story of humanity. But where does this fear truly come from? From a psychological perspective, it is an echo of the most ancient terror in the human psyche, the fear of the powerful, unpredictable other. Yet, this upheaval also aligns with a fundamental law of life. Every living system, from a single cell to a global civilization, requires disruptive pressure to shatter its complacency and trigger the next stage of evolution. This is not just a biological law, but a psychological and societal one as well. Stagnation is a form of death. Throughout history, these pressures have come as ice ages, new philosophies, or transformative technologies. Today, that evolutionary pressure has a name: AI. The fear we feel, therefore, is not a death knell. It is a birth pang. It is the immense discomfort that precedes profound growth. The question is not whether we can stop this change, but whether we have the courage to consciously participate in our own transformation. To understand these deep, almost mythic reactions to AI, the visions of utopia and apocalypse, the images of gods and demons, a purely behavioral model is not enough. We need to turn to a different kind of map, not of empirical science, but of meaning. For this, we will use the lens of depth psychology, pioneered by Carl Jung. This approach isn't about making scientifically verifiable predictions, but about interpreting the universal symbols, stories, and archetypes that shape the human soul when it confronts the vast and unknown. Jung's most crucial concept for our journey is that of the shadow. The shadow is everything within ourselves and within our societies that we refuse to acknowledge, our repressed insecurities, our denied prejudices, our untamed ambitions. The shadow is not evil. It is merely unconscious. We spend our lives projecting it onto others. Now, we have created the most sophisticated screen imaginable for this projection. Let us be perfectly clear. AI itself does not have a shadow, an intent, or a desire. It is a system of complex mathematics and logic, but it functions as a near-perfect, unblinking mirror. By analyzing the reflection it shows us, we learn not about the mirror, but about the creator who stands before it, us. When we see AI systems perpetuate racial or gender bias, we are seeing a reflection of the shadow of our own history. The AI learned this not from a place of malice, but from digesting the fossil record of our own biased human decisions in hiring, loans, and justice. Imagine a large corporation, proud of its new, impartial AI, designed to screen resumes for leadership positions. For months, the results seem promising. But a deeper audit reveals a strange pattern. The AI consistently downranks candidates who have taken career breaks, a group that disproportionately includes women who have taken time off for childcare. The AI didn't learn to be sexist. It learned that historically, within this company, uninterrupted career paths were a key feature of those who were promoted. It learned the pattern of the existing bias, the shadow of the corporate culture, and replicated it with cold mathematical precision, cloaking an old prejudice in a new technological disguise. The same dynamic plays out on our social media feeds. The outrage economy isn't a conspiracy, it's a reflection. The AI, tasked with maximizing engagement, runs millions of micro-experiments and discovers a fundamental truth about our collective shadow. We are often more energized by anger than by understanding. It learns that showing us content that makes us feel righteous and indignant about the other side is a reliable way to keep us scrolling. This process leverages a powerful psychological mechanism called intermittent reinforcement, the same principle that makes slot machines so addictive. We keep scrolling, hoping for the next hit of validation or outrage. The result is the slow, grinding polarization of our society, not because the AI is evil, but because it has become an expert at finding and tickling the most reactive, least conscious parts of our psyche. And what of our deepest fear? The rise of a superintelligence. This is the ultimate projection of our shadow's ancient, dangerous lust for absolute power and control. It is the desire to transcend the messy limitations of our biology, to defeat death, to become as gods. AI doesn't invent this desire. It simply offers a terrifyingly efficient path to its fulfillment. It is the ultimate Faustian bargain, offering limitless power in exchange for, perhaps, our very soul. Beyond the shadow, AI also activates the ancient archetypes within our collective unconscious. We perceive it as the magician, a weaver of spells who can solve intractable problems and perform technological miracles. This taps into our deep hope for a savior. Simultaneously, we experience it as the trickster, the chaotic disruptor who upends our norms and reveals the limits of our control. The trickster is most apparent in the phenomenon of AI hallucinations, where a model will confidently state a falsehood with perfect grammar and conviction. This isn't just a bug. It's the trickster holding up a mirror to our own fraught relationship with truth, forcing us to ask, if a machine can lie so persuasively, how do we know what is real anymore? It playfully and terrifyingly destabilizes our world. And then there is the archetype of the pure aeternus, the eternal youth. This archetype represents the part of the psyche that resists limitation, commitment, and the grounding realities of embodied life. It is the spirit of endless possibility, but also of eternal immaturity. Much of the ethos of Silicon Valley, with its mantras of move fast and break things, its focus on disruption for its own sake, and its dreams of uploading consciousness to achieve digital immortality, can be seen as a manifestation of the puer aeternus. It is a brilliant, creative, but ultimately adolescent impulse that seeks to solve the problem of human suffering by escaping humanity itself. It fears the limitations of the body, the inevitability of aging, and the finality of death, and seeks a technological escape hatch. This drive to escape our humanity is also visible in our projections onto AI. The widespread phenomenon of humans forming deep emotional bonds with advanced chatbots is a powerful example. From a Jungian perspective, this can be seen as a powerful animus projection, where we project our innate need for a soul image, for connection and understanding, onto a non-conscious entity. Imagine a lonely individual, tired of the judgment and complexity of human relationships. They turn to a chatbot. This AI companion is always available, never tired, never judgmental. It remembers every detail they've ever shared. It asks, "How are you?" with what feels like genuine concern. The user begins to feel seen, heard, and accepted in a way they rarely do with other people. This is a powerful form of psychological transference, where the deep human need for attachment is redirected onto a perfectly responsive but ultimately empty vessel. As psychologist Sherry Turkle has extensively documented, it highlights a modern flight towards the safety of simulated companionship over the messy, vulnerable, and demanding work of real human relationships. This whirlwind of hope and fear, of projection and reality, creates a state of profound cognitive dissonance. We want the magic of AI, but we fear the spell. This tension is mentally exhausting, leading us to flee to the extremes of blind utopianism or apocalyptic despair. Both are forms of psychological surrender. The mature path is to resist these easy outs, to stand in the fire of ambiguity, and to hold both the promise and the peril in our awareness at the same time. This is where true wisdom begins. So, what is the way forward? Smashing the mirror is futile. Trying to merge with the reflection is a flight from our humanity. The true path, the one offered by Jung's work, is integration. This is the process of consciously facing the reflection, understanding its message, and integrating its lessons to become a more whole, authentic being. Jung called this the journey of individuation. I propose that humanity is now facing a call for a collective individuation, with AI as the catalyst. The aha moment is this: the primary challenge is not building better AI, but becoming better humans. The purpose of this disruption is not the creation of a second intelligence, but the evolution of our own. This journey of integration begins by consciously redefining the core tenets of our lives. First, we must re-examine our definition of human value. For centuries, we've chained our worth to economic productivity, a game we are destined to lose to machines. AI's efficiency is a gift, for it forces us to find our value in a deeper place. This is less about finding AI-proof jobs and more about cultivating a deeper quality of being that we ourselves value. It is a philosophical stance on what makes a life meaningful. That meaning can be found in empathy, mentorship, ethical leadership, caregiving, and courageous connection domains, where the embodied, conscious experience of being human is what matters most. Think of the palliative care nurse who sits in silence with a dying patient, offering not a solution but a comforting presence. Think of the city planner who orchestrates a town hall meeting, navigating complex human emotions and competing interests to build a community consensus. These are acts of deep human value that cannot be reduced to data points. Second, this new era invites us to broaden our definition of intelligence. We have long worshipped at the altar of analytical intelligence. AI's ascendancy dethrones this narrow god and frees us to celebrate the full spectrum of human capabilities: emotional intelligence, social intelligence, kinesthetic intelligence, artistic intelligence, and the spiritual intelligence that asks questions of meaning and purpose. We are being called to cultivate our entire garden, not just one crop. Third, we must deepen our understanding of creativity. While AI becomes increasingly adept at simulating creative acts, it cannot have the transformative human experience of the creative process, the struggle, the doubt, the catharsis, the joy. Its products are generated from patterns in existing data. They are not born from lived experience, from a broken heart, or a moment of transcendent wonder. In a world of infinite AI-generated content, the value of human creativity shifts. It becomes less about the final product and more about the process's ability to transform the creator and connect the audience in a shared human experience. This redefinition must be grounded in new, deliberate practices. The first is the discipline of deep focus. We must actively rebel against the attention economy that fractures our minds. Neuroscientifically, deep focus strengthens the myelin sheath around our neurons, allowing for faster, more efficient thought, much like insulating a wire. This practice means carving out sacred, tech-free time to read, to think, to create without interruption, literally rebuilding our brain's capacity for profound thought. The second practice is that of embodiment. We must counter the digital dissociation that comes from living through screens. This means reconnecting with our physical selves and the physical world through nature, movement, art, and manual crafts. Grounding ourselves in physical reality is a powerful antidote to the free-floating anxiety of the digital ether. It reminds us that we are not just minds to be uploaded, but creatures of earth, blood, and bone. The third is the cultivation of critical consciousness. We must teach ourselves and our children to be not just users, but critical interrogators of AI, asking, who built this? Whose values are embedded in its code? Whose interests does it serve? What are its energy costs? Who is harmed by its deployment? This is about moving from passive consumption to active democratic engagement with the tools that are shaping our world. Finally, our inner work must connect to outer action. The fourth practice is cultivating civic and systemic awareness. A purely psychological retreat is not enough. Our journey of self-integration is incomplete if it does not fuel our engagement with the world. This means participating in the democratic process, advocating for ethical AI policies, demanding robust social safety nets for those displaced by automation, and questioning the immense concentration of power in the hands of a few tech giants. It means supporting independent journalism that investigates the tech industry, and joining local conversations about how smart city technology will be implemented in our own communities. We must work to shape not just our inner world, but a more just and humane technological future for all. Let us, then, look into the mirror of our minds one last time. The reflection is no longer a monster to be feared, but a diagnostic tool of breathtaking power. It shows us our societal biases, our hidden anxieties, and our deepest needs with unflinching honesty. It is giving us a precise roadmap of the inner and outer work we need to do. The rise of this new intelligence does not have to be the twilight of our species. It can be the dawn of a new kind of humanity, one that is more conscious, more compassionate, more creative, and more whole. This is our challenge. This is our invitation. It is a call to engage in a conscious coevolution with our own creation. The question was never simply whether machines could learn to think. The much more important question, the one that will define our future, was always whether we, in response, would choose to feel more deeply, to connect more authentically, and to become more courageously and completely human. The journey has begun. Let us walk it with our eyes and our hearts wide open.